Okay, so this is the part of leadership towards the bottom. So the criteria says explain how team building leads to team cohesion in the public services with reference to relevant theorists. So there's quite a lot, so we're going to start with the first couple of bits and then move on from there. So let's just go through that again. Okay, explain how team building leads to team cohesion in the public services with reference to relevant theorists. So there's four key parts there that we need to make sure that we've got. Okay, so rather than snowman, how do we want to build a team? Okay, so there are different stages to team building. We're going to talk about each one, why it's important, how it's important, and then some of it will link in with Belbin and Tuckman's theories, so you need to make sure that you've done the work on that, otherwise it won't make sense. So first bit, when we're trying to build a team, so if we go with a team as being a group of people trying to achieve a common goal, then you need to make sure that you recruit the right people to your team. So if we take our college group as an example, we go through a recruitment process. Yeah, people had interviews, did some online testing, we looked at GCSE grades, all those kind of things, to make sure that we had the right people in our team. If you have watched The Avengers, it's making sure, it's Nick Fury going around in all those post-credit stings and recruiting the right kinds of people. All right, that's how you build a team. You get the people that you want. So if you link it to the public services, each of the public services has a very involved and robust recruitment and selection process to ensure that they get the right people in the public services. So the recruitment phase is important. If you get the wrong people in your team, then you're not going to achieve your goal. Once you've recruited your people, what's the next stage? Well, if you think about us at college, our next stage was induction. So that was making sure that everybody who came on the course, who we'd recruited, knew what the ground rules were. So we spent a lot of time on our induction process, going through forms, going through procedures, going through processes, what to do, when to do it, how to do it, to ensure that everybody was on the same page before we started trying to do anything resembling any kind of work. If you've got a part-time job, then you will have had an induction process, or training at the beginning before you started doing anything vaguely to do with the job itself. And again, when you go into the public services, there will be an induction. The first few days of the training process will be an induction process, so that everybody is clear on what they are to do, when they are to do it, how they are to do it. Once we've got our team, once we've recruited our people, once we've inducted them, we need to think about how we're going to motivate them. So there are two different types of motivation. You can look these up. All right, we have intrinsic motivation and we have extrinsic motivation. Extrinsic, if you want to link that across into Raven's basis of power, then you've got your coercive and your reward ways of motivating people. These are extrinsic, external. You give people things or you take things away from people. That can work as a motivator, but as we discussed when we did discipline, it's not the best. What you really want is what's known as intrinsic motivation, where people motivate themselves from within. So again, if you recruit the right kind of people, you're going to have people that are self-disciplined, well-disciplined, and are going to be able to motivate themselves even when faced with adversity. All right, we are going through adversity at the moment. All right, and some people are being very intrinsically motivated, and some are requiring, a bit of extrinsic motivation. So again, it's going to be down to your leader, the types of leadership styles that they use, how they're going to motivate your team, how they're going to get it done. You get it right, you're going to have a successful team. Now obviously, getting a good team, if we take this to a sporting analogy, all right, then people need to train, people need to work together in order to be a successful team. So again, we did a little bit of training at the beginning, how to be a successful student, all right, going through the things you needed to do, how to do your job properly. Again, if you are going into the public services, there will be an extensive training process. The police are now going to be moving to a 2-year degree programme. The Royal Marines, 36 weeks down at Lympstone. Lots of different training procedures to ensure that everybody that's on the team knows how to do their job properly. Everybody knows what they are supposed to do. If we link these across to Tuckman, we've got our forming stage, and this is where we'd still be, in the forming stage, possibly moving in, to the norming phase as people find their feet a little bit more and people know what they're supposed to be doing. Coaching is more of an ongoing thing, keeping an eye on people, just giving advice when you see them doing their job, in the same way that when you hand in assignments, I tell you whether it's any good or not, hand it back, etc. Not telling you how to write the assignments anymore, but telling you what needs to be done in order to get the best out of it. Moving up from that, we've got mentoring. So this is slightly different from training and coaching. So a mentor is somebody that you might go to get advice on something. And they might not even be in your team. They might be outside of your team, or it could be a whole group of people speaking to a particular mentor. They're generally got experience in something, or they can, if they're not part of the team, they can look at it very distant, very disparaging view, looking away from it because they're not involved in it. The phrase "you can't see the wood for the trees" would come in here. If you're involved within the team, it's sometimes very difficult to see the problems within the team, whereas if you've got someone who's looking at it, observing it from a distance, it's much easier for them to be able to give comments. And also they can tell you personally maybe what you need to be working on, rather than just the whole team. And obviously, as we know from Esprit de Corps, if we've got team members that are all working well, then that generally improves discipline within the team. Then we've got team knowledge. Now this isn't necessarily people knowing what their job roles are, this is more knowing about the team in general. So this is going to link into Belbin's team roles. Do you know what you're good at? Do you know what the rest of your team are good at? Do you know what your weaknesses are? Do you know what everybody else's weaknesses are? All right. If you looked at Belbin as he's on the video, a team of specialists will always outperform a team of all-rounders. So it's knowing what the skills are of the team members that you have. And if you go all the way back to the top and you recruit the right team members, then that's going to be better, because you're going to have a range. You're going to be picking people on their particular skills. If we look at the Avengers, if you just picked a bunch of Hulks, then that's not going to work. They'll be very angry, very smashy. All right. If you pick a load of Iron Mans, that's not going to be so good, because they're all going to be very arrogant. So you're building the team and you're knowing the sequence of events that you want to have the people to do all the way through. Who's going to come up with the ideas, who's going to check the ideas, who's going to manufacture or do the task, who's going to check it at the end. If you watch the Avengers, when they all come together in that glorious bit, and Captain America tells everybody what to do, because he knows, he's the tactician, he knows what people's strengths are, what people's weaknesses are, and goes and gives them their jobs to do. So this is all how we're going to be building our team. Now if we build our team correctly, then it should lead to team cohesion. So if you look up the word cohesion or cohesive, it means sticky, how it sticks together. If you've got a good cohesive team, then the chances are you're going to successfully complete the task that you're trying to do. So what we've got to think about are what kinds of things are going to contribute to team cohesion. What kinds of things are going to help your team stick together, and then obviously conversely, what kinds of things are going to tear your team apart. So first thing is understanding what the vision for the team is, and everybody understands why they are there. So as a group at college, we are very clear. We are there to get over 2 years an extended diploma in uniform public services, at the same time as improving your skills, your employability skills, your responsibility, your discipline, your fitness, all of these things. We lay that out from the start, from day one. We are all clear about why we are there. We come to college, or we stay at home, we learn some stuff and we have a laugh. That's what we do, and everybody understands that. If you've got someone in the team who doesn't understand that, then that's the problem, and that's why that team or that person isn't going to function as well within the team. So if we're thinking about Tuckman, we're now in the performing and the norming stage. All right, we've got to have clear targets that are set. So again, within our group, we've got very clear targets about what we're doing. If we take it into the public services and we think about the visions and team or the clear visions, everybody knows why they've joined a particular service. The emergency services exist to reduce emergency incidents. If you join the police service, the idea is to reduce crime, prevent crime, and then to fight crime. In the fire brigade, it's to prevent fires and fight fires. Okay. if we're going into the prison service, it is to rehabilitate prisoners, to keep people safe, keep the public safe. All right, and then within that, having clear targets, short-term targets, long-term targets. We might have talked about SMART targets, specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time scale. Okay, making sure that we've got those clear targets. All right, for us, our target at the minute is making sure that we finish this year and then we come back in September, whatever that looks like. At the end of 2 years, we're going to have targets. Those of you doing GCSEs, functional skills, you're going to have clear targets that you need to be doing, and everybody needs to know that. If there's no clear understanding about why the team exists and what they're working for, then people aren't going to be bothered about staying in the team. They're not going to want to stick together, and they're just going to drift off. Now, within your team, it's really important that you are happy with what it is that you are in the team for. Okay, so if you have a part-time job, are you happy in that job? Do you want to be in that job? Do you want to work there? Again, looking back at Belbin's team roles, you may have a specific role that you've been given within that. Well, are you happy with that role? Is that the role that you want? Why have you been assigned that role? If you're not happy with the role, then the chances are you're not going to work hard. If you don't want to work hard, then people are going to get annoyed at you, and that is going to damage the fabric of the team. So it's important that everybody has some semblance of satisfaction with the job and the role that they are doing. All right, if they don't have that, then they're not going to be happy. Obviously, it's very tricky to make everybody happy when they work all the time, but successful teams, everybody is happy within that role because they're happy about being at work. Okay, so when we come into college, the idea is that we come in again, we try and make it a fun place to be as much as it can be. All right, that people are happy to be there, people feel safe to be there. If you have a negative work environment, people don't want to go to work. If people don't want to go to work, then they're not going to give you their best performance. They're not going to want to stick around. They want to try to get out of there as quickly as possible. And again, that's about setting that vision, setting that understanding about why the team is there and those targets. Now, to make things positive, obviously within your team, you want to have positive relationships. You want to get on, if for want of a better phrase, with the people that you work with. You haven't got to be best friends, you haven't got to be BFFs, but you do have to be able to work with those people, put differences aside so that you can cooperate with each other and that you can contribute to your team. All right, you take those away, then we're not going to have a cohesive team. Okay, so let's flip all the way back and let's just quickly look at that. So these are our stages of team building. Okay, so recruitment, induction, motivation, training and coaching, mentoring, and team knowledge. So thinking of that, these are going to be the things that we're going to be writing about. All right, these are the stages of building a team. Then we're going to be linking those into how they contribute to team cohesion. How do we build a team in order to get team cohesion, and importantly in the public services? So we're going to need some public service examples, and we're going to need to be referring to Belbin and Tuckman. Again, I don't need you to write down what Tuckman is, I don't need you to write down all the stages, but I need you to be able to understand it. Same with Belbin, so that you can refer to them. Alright, so there's some couple of things on Moodle you can have a look at. Obviously look up Tuckman, look up Belbin. Okay.